Let's forget the word budget. It just sounds like a diet for your wallet, right? And nobody likes being on a diet. Today, we're not budgeting, we are building a game plan, a really simple, powerful strategy to take back control of your money. And we can start with your very next paycheck. If you're ready to stop stressing and start actually living, let's dive in.
Okay, let me ask you something. Does this feel familiar? You get paid, you feel on top of the world for like a day, you pay some bills, you buy some stuff, and then all of a sudden, it's a week before your next payday and you're just staring at your bank account wondering, where did it all go? It's like your money performs this magic disappearing act every single month. Trust me, you are not alone in feeling this. And that feeling, that knot in your stomach, it has a name: financial anxiety. It's this constant low-level hum of worry about money. And research shows this isn't some personal failing. Oh no, it's one of the biggest causes of stress for people everywhere. And it all comes from that one feeling: being out of control, like you're just a passenger in your own financial life. But what if I told you that you could grab the steering wheel right now?
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Oh, great. Budgeting. Complicated spreadsheets, tracking every single coffee, giving up everything that makes life fun. Nope. Forget all of that. We're going to throw that complexity right out the window. This entire explainer is about one single, powerful rule that does all the heavy lifting for you. It's a game plan, not a prison.
And here it is, the whole game plan on one slide. It's called the 50-30-20 rule, and it's so simple. Every dollar you earn after taxes gets split into just 3 easy buckets: 50% for your absolute needs, 30% for your wants, yeah, the fun stuff, and 20% for your future, which is all about savings and crushing debt. That's it. It's simple, it's clear, and it is unbelievably effective. But here's the thing. There's a catch. Even people who know this rule often make one critical mistake. It's a really subtle error in how we think that causes the whole system to just fall apart. I am going to reveal exactly what that number one mistake is at the very end of this explainer, because understanding it is the difference between this plan working for a month and this plan working for the rest of your life. All right, let's build this thing from the ground up. Part 1 is your foundation, the 50% that's dedicated to your must-haves. Look, this isn't the flashy, exciting part of the plan, but it is, without a doubt, the most important. If you get this part right, I promise, everything else just clicked into place. This is all about building a bedrock of security.
So, what exactly is a need? Well, the definition has to be simple and strict. A need is an essential, non-negotiable cost. Think about it this way. If you stopped paying for it, would your life be immediately and dramatically impacted for the worse? Could you still live, work, and function? If the answer is no, then yeah, it's a need.
Now, we have to be ruthlessly specific here. Your 50% bucket includes things like your rent or your mortgage, basic utilities like electricity and water, and the groceries you need to actually cook meals at home. It also covers your insurance premiums and, listen up, this part is crucial, only the minimum payments on your debts, like your credit cards or student loans. We'll get to aggressive debt payoff later, but for now, just the minimums live here. And this is the big one. I can practically hear some of you saying, dude, my rent alone is almost 50% of my income. And you're right, that is a huge common problem. It can feel like the game is totally rigged before you even start. But what if I told you there's a way to find hundreds of dollars hiding in this very category without some drastic lifestyle change? Yes, I'm talking about potentially $500. Financial strategists point to 2 areas that are just ripe for savings. First, what they call the annual review. Once a year, you call your auto insurance, your cable, and your cell phone providers. You just ask for a loyalty discount or a better rate. That alone saves the average person a few $100s a year. Second, the grocery audit. Seriously, strict meal planning and swapping to store brands can easily save you another $100 to $150 a month. Just attacking those 2 things can put a huge chunk of cash right back in your pocket. Okay, let's move on to the part that everyone loves, the 30% dedicated to your wants. I'm calling this the 30% freedom because that's exactly what it is. This is your official, pre-approved permission slip to spend money on things that make you happy, completely and totally guilt-free. This gets right to the heart of the issue for so many of us. The biggest struggle often isn't even the lack of money. It's the guilt that comes with spending it. Every time you buy a coffee or go out for dinner, there's that little nagging voice in your head going, should I be saving this instead? This game plan is designed to shut that voice up, for good. So what lives in your freedom fund? Oh, all the good stuff. Dining out with your friends, your Netflix and Spotify subscriptions, hobbies that actually recharge you, concert tickets, vacations. This is your lifestyle money, and it's just as important as paying the rent because it's what keeps you motivated. It prevents you from just giving up on the whole plan.
So, this is really crucial. You have to reframe how you think about this category. This isn't just frivolous spending. This is a planned, intentional investment in your own happiness and mental health. Preventing burnout is a core part of any successful long-term plan. This 30%, it's your burnout prevention fund. So, how do we put this on autopilot so you never feel that guilt again? The secret, my friend, is automation. Here's a super simple 3-step process. The moment your paycheck hits your main account, you set up an automatic transfer. It moves 30% of your take-home pay into a totally separate checking account. We'll call it your freedom account. Then, you just use the debit card for that account for all your wants. When the money's gone, it's gone until the next payday. No more guilt, no more mental math, just freedom.
Now for the final, and honestly, the most powerful piece of the puzzle, your 20% future. This isn't just about saving, it's about building your wealth engine. This is the slice of your paycheck that goes to work for you, growing over time to build real financial independence and security down the road. So what goes into this wealth engine? Okay, priority number 1, before you do anything else, is building an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of living expenses. This is your shield against life's curveballs. Once that's solid, this 20% is what funds your retirement accounts, like a 401k or an IRA. And this is where aggressive debt payoff lives. Remember how only the minimum payments were in your needs? All that extra cash you throw at your debt comes from this 20% bucket. This is how you completely destroy high-interest debt. Now, you might think, okay, 20% is the goal. And it is. But what happens if you can just push it a little bit further? What if, by trimming your needs or wants just a little, you could find a way to save 25% instead of 20%? Over a few months, the difference might not seem like a big deal, but over decades, the power of compound interest turns that tiny change into a massive, massive difference. Just look at the gap on this chart. The difference is absolutely staggering. According to financial models, someone earning $60,000 a year who saves 25% instead of 20% will have over $200,000 more after 20 years, assuming an average market return, of course. That extra 5%, we're talking just $250 a month, can lead to a 6-figure difference in your net worth. That's the power of your wealth engine. And that brings us to the moment I promised you at the beginning. We've built the foundation, we've funded our freedom, and we've fired up the wealth engine. But all of it can come crashing down if you make this one single, incredibly common mistake. So let's pull back the curtain. The mistake lives in the blurry gray line between needs and wants. Just take a look at these examples. A need is basic groceries to cook at home. A want is dining out multiple times a week. A need is a reliable car to get you to work. A want is a brand new luxury SUV with that huge monthly payment. A need might be coffee. But a daily $5 gourmet latte from a cafe, that's a want. The lines get fuzzy really fast. And this is it. The number one mistake that derails this entire plan is letting your wants sneak into the needs category. It's something called lifestyle inflation. You tell yourself you need the fancier car for safety. You need the bigger apartment for your mental health. You need the daily takeout because you're just too tired. When your wants start masquerading as needs, they inflate your 50% foundation and they steal money directly from your freedom and your future. Being ruthlessly honest with yourself about this is the entire key. So, I want you to look at your own spending with this new lens. Are your needs truly needs? Is your 50% foundation solid? Or is it a little inflated with some wants in disguise? Just think about that. Which of these 3 categories, the 50% needs, the 30% wants, or the 20% future, is the biggest challenge for you right now? Let me know down in the comments. And if this explainer helped you finally create your game plan, make sure to subscribe.